another live stream broadcast or podcast or whatever that is. So basically, I didn't do any productivity things at all in the last weekly scheduled free time in pretty late in evening of the Wednesday in the middle of the week. So since in the day before yesterday, I basically have unnecessary meeting which I basically don't really like. But yeah, hopefully everything was going well, since to be honest I never really like to experience those things, the one that basically try to be mentioned in the meeting. So yeah, because yeah, it's basically something that pretty much unexpected. So that's the reason why we can only hope for a better future, or for the future for not happening, so that it was going well the way that we are trying to expect. So, or at least if there is actually something that's most likely will cause problem in the future, hopefully we can try to notice it, even though it's definitely hard. But yeah, basically we can depend on luck, even though for some reason I never really believe of what some, or never believe the existence of luck, because for some reason, just like what mentioned in the movie, luck is probably like a superpowers, because for some reason, yeah, we still definitely still depend on destiny or fate, because everything was happened for a reason. So yeah, it still depend on our efforts, or some things that basically relate to our surroundings. So there always be a reason, even though at some point we may not able to figure it out first. So yeah, so basically this is pretty much an unintentional free time that I basically try to do a good behavior recording just like as usual. And in this day I'm actually finally upload the good behavior recording into the newly created channel, even though the email that was actually used is technically the same like my other channel that I used to create probably more than 12 years ago, I guess, I'm not sure. So it was currently deprecated, even though I basically have so many footage, including the one that I basically lost in my physical bad sector hard drive. So that's the reason why, that's basically the reason why I try to deprecate those channels. Maybe I basically wanted to recover the data inside those broken hard drive first, but yeah, it's definitely need a lot of money, and for some reason I prefer to do a newly created channel instead. And the good behavior recording is one of the content that I basically never expect something in return, especially in this world, because yeah, it was actually beneficial for the life after we are already gone from this world. So even though it's still definitely far from perfect, but yeah, at least we're trying to do something for our afterlife instead of nothing. And definitely will not like any other things that we are trying to do with the result that basically direct or indirect in this world. So it should be goes the way that we are expected, so there's no subjectivity like many, or even unluckiness like many things that we experience in this world. Because yeah, if we try to see the definition of life in this world, where there's a lot of irony, because yeah, that's probably what makes our life unique. Perhaps, I'm not sure, because yeah, if everything was going well according to every good people in this world, then yeah, there's gonna be just a static life. So yeah, there's always a bad things that happens while there's a good thing. So that's the reason why at some point I basically don't know what kind of things that I basically want to talk about, because for some reason I tried to do multitasking at the same time, even though it's probably going to make this broadcast have a lot of silence, even though it's still 6 minutes. So the previous good behavior recording is basically shorter than my previous good behavior recording, obviously, because yeah, it's still pretty much less than half an hour, because I tried to finish it at the perfect point instead of try to continue as much as possible, but until I finally got interrupted, and then yeah, it will be pretty weird. Perhaps, I'm not sure. Besides, I basically want to do other productivity things like this broadcast, even though yeah, this one is actually not really necessary as well, because most of the things that I don't know whether this is actually beneficial for the life when I finally already gone from this world or not, because yeah, for some reason I always try to talk about the good things, because hopefully it can inspire other people's, because yeah, if no one can be inspired from the things that I basically said, at least I can satisfied, or maybe I can understand about this life better than my previous self. Or when, even though yeah, you cannot see the exact things about that. So yeah, I basically have so many pre-recorded footage that I can make, but I don't know whether it is actually gonna be sufficient for this unintentional free time, which I just don't know how long, how much that I basically can able to do, because yeah, if you talk about the gaming footage from the game that I try to play for quite a long time, but it's still not 1 year. But yeah, I already tried to complete it almost twice, at least to reach the same level of progress, and then I was basically tried to do it again in the third times using different account, obviously. And yeah, I basically tried to record since the second time that I tried to complete. I basically tried to live stream into the Twitch, while the first time I don't actually try to do it anywhere else. So it's just waste of my time. Even though yeah, not every time that I basically try to play with the second or the third characters is actually recorded or streamed, because at some point when I basically see this is gonna be pretty much repetitive, I decided to not do it. So it's just waste of time. But sorry, but I think it is gonna be make something difference with the future, or the future footage or the time that I finally live stream or record it again. So that's the reason why. And yeah, I don't know what else that I basically try to talk. And I basically have some testing footage or portrait orientation footage, which I just don't know when will I finally upload that. Because for some reason, if you talk about the good behavior recording, I finally upload it directly, which I basically can upload it as much as possible without any needs to edit, and it's basically pretty small file as well because it was a footage, raw footage that was recorded from the OBS just like this live stream, but it was recorded. So that's the reason why the resolution is pretty bad. Actually, it's only 360p. I don't know whether it is because I was trying to set the record quality on this OBS studio is the same like live stream, because yeah, when I basically try to record on OBS in other devices, which I may have different settings, the recording footage is pretty big. It's basically the same as the display resolution, which can turn into full HD. So I don't know whether it is actually possible or not to be implemented with my good behavior recording, because for some reason, if you talk about how I basically try to record the Animoji or this kind of footage, is actually from cropping the AirPlay application inside the desktop, so it's definitely will not have the full HD resolution natively unless I basically have, I don't know, bigger resolution than full HD, bigger resolution display than full HD, which the portion of the screen is already pretty big or can have pretty big resolution. So yeah, if you talk about this old mid 2013 MacBook Air, it's basically have a very low resolution. It's even lower than full HD. So that's the reason why I basically can only make 360p, but I don't know. I think it's actually bigger than 360p if I try to see the monitoring panel in the OBS studio. It's most likely like 480p, but I don't know why the recorded footage is around 360p, so it's basically smaller. But yeah, it's okay since I don't know, the purpose of good behavior recording is pretty much the audio only, or so the video is basically just to make it different than any other good behavior recording out there. Perhaps, I'm not sure. So it's already 13 minutes, so I don't know whether I basically still have so many things to say, because at some point last night I basically have a pretty long dreams, which I usually try to represent inside the notes on my gadget, portable gadget, or the notes that basically synchronize to any other devices that have the same brand. So yeah, Apple brand obviously, because yeah, I already tried to mention the old MacBook Air numerous time that I don't even remember. So yeah, I basically try to do or try to write at least once in a week, but at some point I often forgot about it, especially when I don't know, maybe I'm just too lazy to do something that I cannot utilize it directly as content. So that's the reason why I try to do it before I start the good behavior recording, even though I basically can do it at any time, doesn't need to wait for the free time. because yeah, it doesn't really affect it like when I try to edit or upload content. So there's no need to be, so it's okay if it was interrupted, because yeah, I can try to continue in asynchronously. I don't know, it's just getting weirder, but yeah, that's actually the point that I try to say. I don't know whether you can understand it or not, because yeah, it's not really necessary as well. So I think I will try to stop this live stream and try to do the pre-recorded Animoji using the Zoom application, obviously, just like as usual. So even though my iPhone battery is already 81%, so if I basically try to do it right now, I basically will have the condition of the low power battery mode is turned off once it's recharged into above 80% again. So I think I have tried to tell it in several episodes before, but yeah. Oh well, I think